no tradition should allow you to discriminate against women, against people with disabilities, with elderly people.
After 50 years of so many legislative acts, you think that we still need to fight for another one?
We have to make sure that in every single situation of your life, discrimination is not taking place, and that's why we call it horizontal.
Yeah. This is something which is guaranteed by the treaties, and this is something which has to not only stay on paper, but also has to be present in our daily life. So, Birgit, you think that discrimination is still taking place in Europe in 21st century? Is it still a place for talking about discrimination?
Unfortunately, clearly, yes. And it's not only some random discrimination which might happen at any time, but we really see partially systemic discrimination against women, against LGBTI, against poor people sometimes who cannot afford housing. Some other people may have problems to get a job because of their name, their religion. So yes, clearly there is huge discrimination for many people in Europe.
And do you think that the current legislation is not working well, or do we still need new laws to protect against discrimination? We've got treaties, we've got directives, many of them. We started with equality directives, I think, in the 70s. So after 50 years of so many legislative acts, you think that we still need to fight for another one?
On discrimination, yes, we have some legislative files. Many is linked more or less to the employment area, but not to other areas. And therefore the idea to have a more horizontal legislation, of course, still is very, very important to put more power or pressure on the member states to work on it.
You said at the beginning of our conversation, you said that the directive you are working on in the European Parliament is being called Horizontal Directive, Horizontal Anti-Discrimination Directive. It might sound a bit technical, but on the other hand, it's crucial, because when we look at the treaties, so we have quite a, I would say, clear list of grounds of discrimination that are prohibited. So it's gender, it's age, it's disability, religion or belief, race or ethnic background, and sexual orientation. And when we look at the directives so far, anti-discrimination directives that were adopted in the course of the last 50 years, we see inequalities. We see that some grounds are better protected and some grounds are not protected as they deserve to be protected. So, for example, when we look at gender or when we look at race or ethnicity, that's the best protected grounds, right? Because they already are protected in the areas of education, access to goods and services, healthcare, and many others. When we look at age or disability or sexual orientation, it's just employment. We don't have any other let's say, areas that the discrimination based on, for example, sexual orientation is prohibited.
Yes, we have some specific laws, but we have to make sure that in every single situation of your life, discrimination is not taking place. And that's why we call it horizontal and not only in some specific areas. And I think such a legislation could also help to raise more awareness.
Exactly.
Because sometimes we might not even be aware that we are discriminating people.
I remember 2008 when the very, very important year for those who were fighting against discrimination. And that was the year of presenting the draft anti-discrimination law by the European Commission. So now we have 2025, even 26, and it's still not in place. It is not adopted. So why do you think it's so hard to get there? Why member states are so reluctant? I mean, the European Commission presented the law. European Parliament many years ago agreed to give a green light for the directive. So why the governments are still opposing? What's the reason? Is it for the ideological reasons, or so-called economical reasons? What is in their mind that stops them to do it?
Now, if you ask member states, they might say, yo, we are so different, you cannot have one rule, our traditions are different, and that may be true. But no tradition should allow you to discriminate against women, against people with disabilities, with elderly people. You should not do that, whatever your tradition is. On the other hand, it might also be, if you want to ensure that no one is discriminated, you need to undertake some action. So you have to raise awareness on the national level. You have to create legislation. Maybe you need a kind of authority or a person whom you can contact to report back that something is going wrong. So yes, of course, you also have to invest some money. And we are very good in investing money when we can build something in stone, but sometimes we are not that good to spend money into human beings.
Yeah. And remember a few months ago when we learned, actually that was a year ago, when the mandate of the new Commission started, and the European Commission announced, to our surprise, that they are going to withdraw the draft directive, Anti-Discrimination Directive, from the list of the things to do.
Yeah.
And that was quite shocking, right? Because I know that the works of the directive, the works are quite hard, and we are having arguments. Actually, the member states are having arguments with the European Parliament and the Commission. But withdrawing the draft directive, that was shocking, right? And that was you, that was me, that was our group, our political group, Socialists and Democrats, that we say absolutely not. We do not agree for this kind of action. European Commission has to deliver, right? So
that's true.
Yeah.
To be honest, what was most shocking for me was the precise time when the Commission announced that they want to withdraw. They could have done it maybe 5 years ago, because then we already had a long time where nothing moved in the Council. And I remember, I think it was the presidency of Poland who really tried very much to get all the member states on board to make steps forward. And I think they even managed to reduce the number of countries who were still in opposition. So we saw some progress, and that the Commission take that moment when we made progress to say, now we withdraw, we give up to get more equality within European. This was a very shocking moment for me, and I'm very happy that we, our political group, but also some other groups in the House, were going against very strongly, and then the Commission gave up, and now we have a chance to work on it. And I fully agree, 2026, it would be very good if after all those years we now could make even more progress and get it.
True.
But do you think that in these days the fight for equality against discrimination is even more important than ever with some political developments around us?
We all see what is going on outside this house. Not only in France, in Belgium, in Germany, but all over the world, actually, right? So that was even more surprising that the European Commission, in these turbulent times, when this populist right-wing wave is, going throughout Europe, the Commission decided to withdraw the directive. Finally, we still have it on board, but I think that having this directive would be a huge sign for European societies, for all the minorities living on our continent, that Europe is on their side, that we are not surrendering, that we are not accepting the reality that this right-wing extreme populists who one of the agenda is to deprive us of our rights, that they are actually on the right side. No, they are not politically, they are on the right side, but morally, they are definitely not on the right side. So having this directive adopted, I think that would be a huge sign, but also a signal of hope, which would be sent from the heart of Europe, from Brussels, to millions of Europeans, that there is a there is a reality of equality, that there is that Europe is for them, that Europe is seriously thinking about their rights and their freedoms.
And I think that's very important with all the debates we have. Why are you so much against far-right political groups? I think the point is not only that they are far-right. We never should vote for extreme and fascist parties. But we are against because we know they are not respecting the rights of human beings. They are not respecting the rights of individuals, quite the opposite. They are spreading hate. They are putting people in situations to clash them against each other, to split society. And that makes any legislation on anti-discrimination also a political signal that we want to have a society where everybody, you already said it, can live free and safe and is not discriminated. So to some extent, anti-discrimination is also a fight against the far right.
That's
and
true.
we have to keep that strong power.
Yeah, definitely. And also, I mean, we need to remember that the directive sets just the minimum standards of protection, and this is not much. I mean, it's actually up to the member states if they want to have more protection, higher, let's say, a higher level of protection against discrimination. That's up to them, right? And many member states in the European Union, they went much farther than the minimum standards that are set up by the directive. So I really don't know what is the source of the fear of the member states, right? And the second argument for adopting the directive is that we are, a huge territory as a European Union of protection of human rights, and this is really weird. For example, when you go to Poland, and for example, you are a disabled person with disability, so when you are discriminated against in access to goods or services, you go to the shop and someone kick you out because you don't look like they wanted you to look, for example. So you're not protected. But if you go to Sweden or if you go to Spain, you've got full rights to claim your rights. So, these differences between legislations within the territory of the European Union, this is something absolutely to be changed, because we are one union, not a union of 27 completely different legislations when it comes to human rights, right?
But you see, that's maybe one of the problems, because even though we have different standards and some member states may be able to say, okay, we already have a high level of standards, anti-discrimination, but your example shows that maybe all our member states have to improve at least something.
European Union is also a union of laws, a union of equality, union of human rights, and we need to close this gap of differences between countries when it comes to protection against, this one of the most awful phenomena, which is discrimination simply based on how do you look, or what is your age, or what is your sexual orientation. This is something which is guaranteed by the treaties, and this is something which has to not only stay on paper, but also has to be present in our daily lives, and we all deserve to live without fear, without being scared of illegal actions against us from those who are meeting every day in our lives. So let's do our best to deliver equality directive as soon as possible. It took long, but we are prepared for fighting for equality. We're socialists and democrats, right?
If I may do a final point, I think we talked about so many different kinds of discrimination, but I think there is one group who even suffers discrimination in a number of areas, and this is women. They are discriminated because they are women, because they are coming from a third country, because they are poor, they may have a disability. Of course, also men can have different reasons, but women also are discriminated against because of different reasons.
Definitely.
But that's even more a reason to stay strong, and we will do it. And I really hope that also some other groups in the House will join us,
Yeah.
and that also member states in the end will join us to send a very good example, and with that also fighting back hate and other forms of discrimination in the
Definitely.
European Union.
Let's have a union of equality.
True. So it was I was very happy to have this exchange with you.
Same from my side.
See you soon.
Yeah.